All right, welcome to another episode of Barrett and Baxa Media Schmedia. Steve Barrett, what is coming up on today's episode?
Well, heck of a show for you there, Bob. We've got a really good one coming up. Most of the show is going to be on these ICE riots because there's so much video, so many clips, so many opinions. There's a lot happening here, and that's going to lead us into the second coming of our segment called Who Said What, which is where we read a little something to you, and you have to figure out who it was that said this thing, and you might be surprised. We will be making fun of Fox News today. We often have good things to say about Fox News, but these will be sort of our pet peeves about Fox News. Bob is hoping today that he does not get in trouble with his cult, because my understanding is Bob plans to criticize the cult leader today. So we're going to see what happens after that.
I'm a little nervous about this.
You might be kicked out of the cult or something. We'll also be talking about your Tinder profile today, Bob. And some rules for anyone who might have. The Tinder profile is no longer up, but who might have in the past. I got my best girl now. Yeah, somebody might have wanted to know this before they ever swiped right on Bob. So all of that and much, much more is coming up right now on Barrett and Baxa Media Schmedia.
Welcome to Barrett and Baxa Media Schmedia. Everyone else has a podcast, why not us? Come along and join the chosen few as we mock the media and ridicule the ridiculous. Get ready as we excite the ears, irritate the eyes, and tantalize the taste buds. Okay, maybe not the taste buds, but you get the point. Let's get the party started. Here's Steve Barrett and Bob Baxa.
All right, that's it. The show has begun. Another wild and wily episode of Barrett and Baxa right now.
Wild and wily.
And wild and wily, yeah. What a week, man. About the first half of this show, man, we're going to have to be talking for a while today and right now about the ICE riots and everything that's going on. We might lead us into a little bit of the No King's Day protests, but mostly we're going to talk about things like the fun being had out in L.A., like watching cars burn and setting off fireworks. Kids throwing rocks. It's just
like tomfoolery. That's all it is.
Yeah,
it's just pranks.
Which is actually ridiculous. On a serious note, I mean, this is people who are out there defying and even assaulting police officers, and somehow that's become okay here in the United States.
We were told on January 6th that it's the worst thing in the world to assault police officers, and now we got people here. It just brings us back to what we always know, which is that Democrats absolutely feel there's one set of rules for them and one set of rules for us. And when they do something, it must be fine because, I mean, by definition, they're doing it. So, of course, it's fine. And when Democrats assault cops, the cop must have deserved it. I mean, Democrats, everything they do is fine. And when Republicans do something bad, of course, they should go straight to prison for life. So that's
and from a media schmedia perspective, there are so many examples this week of journalists or pundits on these networks saying things that I mean, some of them I couldn't believe. And these are things that are going to end up in campaign ads. But in any case, from a media schmedia perspective, this week was just gold for us because there were so many examples of these ridiculous things that journalists and the pundits on some of these networks are saying about what was going on. You know, from calling it your day-old protest to claiming that this is just kids having fun.
Yeah. And in fact, when we send each other little things, I have written many times, this is gold, this is gold, this is gold, this is gold. Like everything is gold. Everything that happened this week was fantastic. So,
well, let's get to gold because one of the things that we talked about was how some of what's happening now is going to be used for campaign ads. You know,
no doubt.
If you think that the she's for they, them, and Trump is for you. If you think that had impact, wait till if somebody creatively puts together some of these comments that really crystallizes the difference between the left and the right when it comes to law enforcement, it's going to be brutal. Bob, I want to know what happens when and if in the midterms coming up, Democrats lose 20, 30 seats, something like that.
You said that.
Are they going to change their tune?
No, definitely not. They will never change their tune. I don't know. It's tough to predict what could happen. I mean, I don't want to have wishful thinking or anything, but they seem to be going down the same crazy path. I mean, every single day they're acting crazier and crazier. It's Trump has driven them insane. Like, we joke about Trump derangement syndrome, but I really am starting to think it is an actual mental illness. Like, there really is Trump derangement syndrome, because these people, they can't even think straight anymore. They're just blinded by hatred for this guy. It's I keep coming back. I keep saying I've never seen anything like it, but then they do more dumb shit, and then I've never seen anything like that dumb thing. It's like they just keep doing it, man. And we're going to talk about Alex Padilla at some point. I mean, he's another mental case.
Yeah. But let's start with this clip.
What are we getting into?
I believe this comes from CNN, and this is where they're talking about watching cars burn, and what a nice thing that is to do on a Saturday afternoon. Oh, it's ABC is what it is, not CNN. Sorry, we get our left-leaning medias confused here.
One's
it's very easy to do. So stand by for just a second. Let me cue this up, and we'll play it for you.
Could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is the new mostly peaceful protest. Everyone remembers when, I guess it was during George Floyd, when you had to see a guy on the chyron said, and for people who don't know what chyron is, just the writing on the screen, when the chyron said mostly peaceful but fiery protest, and the guy was standing in front of everything was burning behind him.
Right.
And mostly peaceful turned into like a catchphrase.
And what's most unbelievable there, if you're watching on YouTube or some other way where you're seeing this visually, in the split screen, these cars are burning, right? And he's talking about fun watching cars burn. But let me tell you what happens when a car burns like that. Number one, it's someone's car.
Right.
Someone's property that you're destroying. Number two, you're putting everyone in danger around it, because cars can explode. I mean, they can.
Absolutely.
You know, a gas tank can explode and people get severely injured. Number two, that does incredible damage to the road below, right? So you're talking about all the businesses for the next 2-3 months have to be disrupted because somebody's got to come in. They got to pull that street up. When it burns, I mean, it chars the street. If you've ever seen where there was a car fire, I mean, it destroys the roadway behind. So everyone in the community now is basically the businesses, people can't pull into their parking lots. It causes all kinds of trouble. So it's not just fun watching cars burn.
Not to mention, I thought we were supposed to be worried about pollution. Like, I'm pretty sure that burning rubber, plastic, gasoline, like 30 different kinds of plastic, electronics, I'm pretty sure all that puts out fumes. And from what I've been told, those fumes are bad for the environment. So it's just fun watching cars burn. I mean, it's hilarious how dumb you people are. It really, really is.
Until somebody gets hurt, or, even a firefighter. They have to go and put that car out at some point,
Absolutely.
Well, and then another argument that was being made all week is this argument that, well, if they didn't do the raids, there wouldn't have been a riot. Or even further, if you didn't do the raids and there wasn't a riot, but now that there's a riot, if you hadn't sent in the National Guard, you wouldn't have escalated the riots.
Correct. That is a common one. Karen Bass actually said this, and it's so idiotic. I mean, if a bank's getting robbed and the cops show up and the bank robbers start shooting it out with the cops, well, if you had just let them take the money, there never would have been a shootout. Like, I mean, you could take that to anything. Like, why ever why even have laws? I mean, if we're just going to let people do whatever they want. So, yeah, if there had been no ICE raids, but we're going to be doing more ICE raids. Like,
that was what people voted for.
We voted for this, and this, I'm going to get to why I'm mad at Trump right now, but we're going to be doing these raids, and I just hope that people aren't already losing the stomach for it, just because they're seeing people get rounded up. I mean, the Democrats did this to our country, man. You let in all these people.
And now they're complaining about undoing it to our country. They did something that no one... Well, I don't want to say no one. They did something that the majority of the nation did not want to happen, and now they're angry that it's being undone. But
cleaned up.
Real quick, back to, because Karen Bass wasn't the only one that believes that. Like, you could say, oh, the mayor is the problem. No.
Right.
Here we've got, I'm going to play another clip. This is a Los Angeles City Council member. Her name is Eunice Hernandez, a Democrat, obviously. But
obviously,
this is what she says should happen in response to the National Guard and potential Marines and all of this.
Right.
So another clip from a person on the left telling us what's going to happen if we continue to try to stop these riots.
Gee, let me guess. Violence.
Resistance has slowed them down before, and if they're escalating their tactics, then so are we. When they show up, we gotta show up even stronger.
Show up and do what? Like, what is that threat?
Yeah.
You're going to show up and do what? Yell at the ICE agents? Like, first
Assault
of all,
officers?
why do they all look like that? Why are they all looking exactly the same way? I mean, seriously.
They are
there
sort of
any attractive Democrat women? And can anyone help me out here? Is there an attractive Democrat woman? One. Is there one somewhere? I mean, or are they all looking like this chick or Elizabeth Warren? It's like they're either 90 or, they're this woman,
they look
shall
like
we
that
say.
one.
Yeah, well,
Well,
it looks like her.
but
what are they going to do when they
in
show
all
up?
seriousness,
Like, what is the threat?
she's saying, this is leadership in the city of LA
Yeah.
saying, hey, just keep escalating it up and up and up and up. And I can tell you how that's going to end. That's going to end with the National Guard and with these Marines.
Right.
And then LAPD is going to have to be the ones that making the arrests, right? So
Right.
really, the
Right.
National Guard and the Marines are only there to protect property and to sort of make sure
Yeah.
things don't get out of control. But the arrests
Which
are going
they
to be
will.
made by LAPD, and if
Right.
and if the city of Los Angeles is not going to let their officers make these arrests, man, that's just going to be disastrous for the Democrat Party.
I don't understand how they can even get away with that. Like, and how does an individual cop feel? Don't cops really kind of want to uphold the law? Like, how do you cops feel about your city telling you you're not allowed to help ICE? Like, these are federal law enforcement agents. I thought they were your brother officers. Like, what? ICE is a legitimate federal law enforcement agency. Like, if you don't want, it brings me back. Do you people want to have borders? Like, let's start there. Do you want our country to have borders? Like, or do you just want the entire North America to be like one contiguous, I think that's the word, blob of land, and anyone from Guatemala can just walk up Mexico and come into the United States? Like, is that what you guys want? It seems
And from
to be
anywhere in the
anywhere.
world.
Yeah, so some terrorist from Syria can fly into Mexico and just walk in, because that's what is happening. I mean,
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. Do you guys want borders at all? And if we have borders, if you have a border, it has to be protected. Otherwise, it's just a suggestion. So do you want there to be federal law enforcement? And if you don't, then get the votes in Congress and eliminate it as an agency. But until you do that, these are federal law enforcement that have to be obeyed. It's that simple. I think.
And you can't
Why is it
assault
so
them.
difficult?
You can't assault
No,
them. You can't
that's
block them in
illegal.
the
No,
streets.
you can't assault
can't
them.
throw bricks at them off of overpasses.
Right.
Shoot fireworks at them.
Yeah.
Roll dumpsters towards them. I mean, any tactic, anything that they can possibly do, they are trying it at this point.
I just thought of Wayne Ivey. You know Wayne Ivey, the Brevard
Love
County
him.
Sheriff.
Yeah.
God, he's so good. And you know
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah.
When he said that if you point a gun at our officers, we will kill you graveyard dead. And I thought
Graveyard dead.
That was
we'll be
awesome.
calling your parents and telling them where to pick up your remains.
Yes, that was good.
I love these Florida sheriffs. Well, the new,
They're
I
awesome.
think
The other one's Grady Judd. He's another good
Yeah,
one.
Grady Judd's great. And Mike Chitwood in Volusia
Awesome.
County has always been good.
Yeah.
But so Florida came up with a new slogan, and it is the No Riot State. I love it.
Oh, yeah? I
Yeah,
didn't
because
see
they're
that.
juxtaposing
Nice.
themselves against California.
Right.
The No Riot State. And everything was peaceful in Florida over the weekend. So
Absolutely. I mean, because they have law enforcement like Wayne Ivey and Grady Judd and Mike Chitwood. That's why they don't put up with this bullshit. It's that simple.
This is going to pit DeSantis against Newsom in terms of whose state is doing it better. I think that DeSantis is doing it much better than Newsom. But we do have a clip. We have a set of clips from Newsom here that are back to back. And it's Newsom talking about how, even before there were any riots or anything back in 2020, when, Trump lost, Biden's taking power. So as the inauguration comes up, of course, January 6th has already happened. But Newsom's talking about calling up his National Guard in anticipation of riots. He's not doing it for riots, but I'm going to play two of these clips, and then after that, we're going to get into why you're mad at your cult leader, Bob. So.
We're taking important steps here in California in light of what we saw at our nation's capital just last week. Let me be clear. There will be no tolerance for violence. That's why today, along with the CHP and Office of Emergency Services, I've activated the California National Guard to support the CHP to enhance security with an initial deployment of up to 1,000 Guard members to protect critical state infrastructure in and around the state capitol.
And this is
Donald
now.
Trump, without consulting California law enforcement leaders, commandeered 2,000 of our state's National Guard members to deploy on our streets. He chose theatrics over public safety. That's when the downward spiral.
He's so cheesy. He was married to Kimberly Guilfoyle. Her name used to be Kimberly Guilfoyle Newsom. Is she still with Donald Trump Jr.? That the last
I don't know
heard,
what happened to that.
together.
I haven't seen her since she was on the
I don't even know
5,
if
which
that
we'll
was
talk
real.
about later. We're going to talk about the 5 a little bit later. But, the ridiculous part is that, Newsom, that the National Guard sometimes needs to be used to make sure riots don't get out of control. But in this situation, because it's a riot over something that Trump's doing, it should be kept under, or it should not be kept under control.
Correct.
It
They should
just
be allowed to go crazy.
like the wildfires.
I mean, it's just another example. The Democrats do things, and if they're doing them, they're fine. But if it's being done by conservatives, it's bad and has to be shut down immediately. So
Has to be criticized at all times.
Right.
Which we're not afraid to do. We are not afraid to throw our critiques out there.
You're about to say it. I'm mad at Donald Trump. Finally, my cult leader. Please, cult members, do not kick me out of the cult. I have my pro-America, anti-liberal shirt on. But I'm very mad. Trump is backing off. He's backing off this week on, he said something to the effect of our farm workers and our hotel industry workers are using people that are undocumented, and it's going to be very difficult for them to replace them. And it just strikes me as it's total bullshit. They're breaking the law. So, he's almost like giving carte blanche to the hotel industry. You're telling me that there's no Americans that will work in the hotel industry? Or what it really is, there's no Americans that will work at the prices that you pay illegal Mexican maids. Americans will not work at those prices. So the hotel industry, because they want to hire illegal Mexican maids, are all of a sudden going to get cut a break by Trump? Like, that is not what we voted for.
As you
we
say
voted
that,
for everyone out.
It occurs to me that, how do you start picking and choosing which industry gets to, sorry, but what about the construction guys that show up at Home Depot, in the morning and they need a couple extra day laborers? Do they get included? Do they get excluded?
Are we going to ever
it's a
solve
can
this
of worms.
problem? It's gigantic, and are we ever going to solve this problem? If we don't do it under Trump, there's never going to be another politician that is going to do this. And so are we just stuck with these people? Part of me thinks that the American people, just like the American people always say, we need to cut spending. And they say we need to cut spending, but only spending on other people's stuff. Nothing that I want should be cut.
Nothing in my state,
Nothing in my life or my state or my town or anything to do with me should be cut. But we do need to cut spending. And it's the same thing now. We need to get these people out, but not if I have to pay more for my lawn care. You didn't tell me that. And then what about Conchita, my maid? How am I supposed to get someone to replace her? So if we have the stomach to do this, you're going to have to lose your cheap lawn care. Sorry. It's what's going to happen. And then eventually you're going to have to pay more for lawn care. That's what we're doing.
We do have that woman who's complaining about her lawn care.
It's crazy.
Here,
I'm
want me to
afraid
play?
that
No.
we're... Yeah, let's see.
No, let's listen to a liberal complain about their lawn care real quick, because this is where it gets me, because they're happy to say one of these. Wait, they're happy to say something, vaguely racist whenever they feel like it.
Right.
They
really do.
Like if a Republican were to say
racist.
what this
Oh my
woman
God.
is saying,
He'd be crucified.
they'd be crucified. So
Absolutely.
we're gonna. This is coming off of X. I'm gonna share it right now. Here she is. Let's listen to this lady.
So your lawn maintenance is about to skyrocket because 90% of workers in the lawn maintenance industry,
How do you know?
they come from Mexico.
Right.
And whether
Where
they're
does he get
here
that
legally
number
or not, Stephen Miller, who Trump's going to put in charge of his mass deportation project, is going to deport them. They're also going to deport people who are naturalized citizens. These are jobs
That's not true.
that
No, they're
Americans
not.
will not do.
not going to.
Okay?
Pause this dumb
America-
bitch, seriously. So put her in an antebellum costume from 1857 and put that exact woman in a costume from Gone with the Wind. And she'll be saying, I hope you realize that now your cotton shirts are going to cost a lot more. If we free these people, who's going to pick the cotton? Your cotton clothes are going to be a lot more expensive if we free the slaves. It's the exact same mindset. She's literally, she's figuratively the woman
come on, Bob.
from the Civil War who said the price of cotton's going to go up if we free the slaves. I mean, that's the deal. Democrats then said if we free the slaves, we are going to have to pick our own cotton and the price of cotton will go up. And now it's if we deport the migrants, you're going to have to cut your own lawn and your price of lawn care will go up. So she might be right. Americans might not be willing. If you're not willing to pay a little more for your lawn care, then we're clearly never going to solve this problem. And I'm starting to get a little worried because just this little bit of sort of these little bumps in the road, and people are already pussying out on this mass deportation. I see it happening already. So, I mean, I don't know that we're going to go through with it. I really don't.
I tell you, it's going to be a long, long
Americans
road.
are so soft, man. They're so soft.
I mean, at least now we've got the border under control.
All right, so at least we got that.
Okay.
But it's obvious
The bleeding
to me
has
that
stopped,
a lot
in other
of these
words.
people, we stopped the bleeding, but we're going to have to, I guess these people are going to get to stay. A lot of them are going to get to stay. So, and let's just hope that mixed in are not Syrian or Arab terrorists that are plotting another 9/11, which, they probably are.
And unfortunately, Americans are notorious for having this short-term memory loss that they forget. Like
We are like children, man. God.
Next clip is actually someone on CNN hoping that everyone will just forget things very quickly. And this is a ridiculous statement. And we're going to riff on it on the backside because it's just such a silly thing to say.
I noticed, Brianna, we all live on our phones these days. We're all scrolling through social media. You've got to be careful at a delicate moment like this to look at the timestamps, look at the dates, look at when things are actually posted, and if they're really from the situation they're purporting to be. A lot of these algorithms are surfacing hours old or even days old content. So you might be looking at a video of something, wondering what's happening in LA. It's actually from 2 days ago. And that's, it only matters because it can give people a false impression of.
You never know. You
Wait,
don't want
say that again.
Old riot. You want day old riot. You don't want day old riot. You want your riot to be fresh. And you want to know that your riot is fresh. You want fresh riot.
Not even hours
old
old
riot.
riot.
CNN, no, you don't want riots go bad quickly. They really turn sour very quickly. So you want your riot to be fresh riot. Think about how stupid he is. You're looking at video. This might have happened 3 hours ago.
Yeah, he
The
didn't say days
situation might have
even. He said
totally
it might be
changed by
hours
now.
old.
He's
Yeah,
so dumb,
the
man.
algorithm, and it's the algorithm's fault. It's not
Right,
It's not
right.
that this did just happen, but the algorithm's feeding you something hours old.
Right.
But
Yes,
that's-
and he's another gay man, allegedly gay. And I want to know, why is he closeted? Why is Brian Stelter closeted? Dude, why are you pretending to be straight? Seriously, I don't have any proof that you're gay, but you seem pretty gay to me. So I'm just very curious as to why he's like Tim Walz. What is the deal with in 2025 with these men who have wives and children when they're pretty
Clearly.
obviously gay? Yeah.
All right.
Brian Stelter's another one. I think he's pretty
All right.
clear.
So we're going to continue on with this, but this is going to happen. This is where I need your help, Bob. You have a quote
All right.
from, I don't know, a recent quote from someone about the number of illegal aliens?
I don't know what we're talking about. What quote do I have? I'm very confused.
I think it was a State of the Union speech.
I do. This is
Union.
Donald Trump. Yeah, I do have this. My bad.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to read this. This is something that Donald Trump has said recently, and we want to. It's
Quote,
very.
It's a good quote.
It's a good quote. Ready? It says as follows. Not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, we are rightly disturbed by the large number of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by legal citizens or immigrants. The public services they use impose burdens upon our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure the borders by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by banning welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In this new budget, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace as recommended. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of the immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it. That's a pretty hardcore anti-immigrant statement.
Yeah, and I think that's what has the left all worked up, man. It's statements like that are clearly, a problem for the left.
Right.
So while you were reading it, I was cutting and pasting some of it just to see if I could find a clip. I actually found that soundbite. I know you just read it, but I'll play it.
What? Not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers.
That was Bill Clinton?
That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits.
Okay. Well, I don't know that we need to listen to the whole thing again. That was Bill Clinton, Bob. How could you screw that up?
What happened between then and now? Why was it okay for him to say that then and now? I mean, he hit every one of Trump's points. I mean, he even talked about how, what was the thing? They put pressure on the services. In other words, if there's illegal aliens, like ambulance services,
they burden the system.
It burdens the system.
That's what Bill Clinton was.
Yeah,
but Bob,
and that's what Trump says. But yet, when Trump says it, it's racist.
Yeah, sure, but Bob, that's Bill Clinton saying that. Okay. So, I mean, that's like, you're talking 25, 30 years ago.
96,
that he would have been, this would have been a long, long time ago. So, obviously, we've had a couple of Democrat presidents between now and then who probably, I doubt, would have that same opinion. Let's see if I can find something from Barack Obama to see what
he's pro-immigrant. He's pro-immigrant.
Yeah, he's got to be. He's got to have a better answer.
Very much so, yeah, for sure.
Hang on, let me hold on. Here, I found it. All
right, cool.
All right, here we'll listen to Obama, what he has to say.
Barack Hussein Obama.
Our message absolutely is don't send your children unaccompanied on trains or through a bunch of smugglers. We don't even know how many of these kids don't make it and may have been waylaid into sex trafficking or killed because they fell off a train. We have no way of tracking that. So that is our direct message to the families in Central America. Do not send your children to the borders. If they do make it, they'll get sent back. More importantly, they may not make it.
Amazing.
And he says in that clip, if your children even make it to the United States, they will be sent back.
Right. Children. So, he's talking about sending back children.
So, all right.
When Trump does it, he's horrible.
Right, but Obama, that's 10 years ago. So it can't possibly
What about current leadership?
Well, let's see if we can find something here very quickly from the last Democrat president that we had.
Okay.
We all know Joe Biden. We all know Jill Biden. So this will be Jill. Oh no, I think this is actually Joe Biden.
Okay, not the president.
I mean,
the president's
not
helper.
the president. This is the
Not
president's.
Jill, not Dr.
This
Jill.
is the president's helper.
Her helper.
Would you allow these cities to ignore the federal law regarding the reporting of illegal immigrants and, in fact, provide sanctuary to these immigrants?
The reason that cities ignore the federal law is the fact that there is no funding at the federal level to provide for the kind of enforcement at a federal level you need. Pick up the New York Times today. There's a city not far across the river from my state that imposed similar sanctions. And what they found out is, as a consequence of that, their city went in the dumps, in the dumpster. Stores started closing.
Look at
Everything
Joe
started to
pre-plastic
happen, and
surgery.
they changed
That's
the
really
policy.
interesting.
Part of the problem is you have to have a federal government that can enforce laws. This administration has been fundamentally derelict in not funding any of the requirements that are needed even to enforce the existing law.
Senator,
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Joe Biden, look at that.
So that's two things about that clip. One, that's 2007.
Right.
When he's gearing up, he's trying to run for president at that point.
Right.
And that's when
Right.
Hillary Clinton was actually became the nominee.
Yeah.
No, that was 2007. So that's when he was considering running against Barack Obama. That's
okay.
But in any
Right.
case, that is a much more sane Joe Biden than we know now.
Sensible.
So one, it's sensible, and two, he doesn't have dementia, so you can hear
weird
what he
seeing
sounds
Joe,
like
what he
prior
used to
to
sound like.
dementia.
Yes, I know.
He used to actually form a sentence, and he would be able to do it off the cuff
Right.
without reading it off of a teleprompter.
Poorly.
But so those are three presidents in a row. But now we'll do clearly, though, it can't be that current leadership in the Democrat Party would have these same opinions.
What do they
All
say?
three of those people are gone.
Okay.
So let's hear what Chuck Schumer has to say about it.
Good.
Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. When we use phrases like undocumented workers, undocumented immigrants, dreamers, we convey a message to the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration, which the American people overwhelmingly oppose.
Why is it that every Democrat talks tough like that, and then when Trump says the exact same thing, and I know why. It's because of the mental illness. I mean, if Trump, anything he says, they're against it. It doesn't matter what it is.
But this just shows you that everyone in the Democrat Party, even up until right now, I mean, maybe Hakeem Jeffries, we can't go find a soundbite of him talking like this. I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't try Hakeem Jeffries.
Right.
But I mean, that takes us all the way to Chuck Schumer.
Right.
And he's completely changed his tune. Why?
Right.
Why did he go from that position that he had, during some of that soundbite to the position now that, illegal immigrant is not even a bad term? He was saying that illegal immigrant is the right term, and not using the term illegal immigrant doesn't do the cause justice and do the issue justice.
Why? I mean, they used to say abortions were supposed to be legal and very rare, and now if you have any restriction whatsoever for any reason, you're a Nazi. Like abortion must be available at the McDonald's drive-thru, basically. So why do
it's
they
birth
change?
control now?
Yeah, it's birth control. It's just use it as birth control. And I mean, why have they changed so dramatically on immigration? I don't know. Why have they? They're turning into a communist party. That's really what it is.
And I think
Democrat
we're on
Party.
the precipice of it, like hitting them right in the face.
Yeah,
because
I hope.
I really think at the rate they're going, with all of what has happened, these riots that are going on, and all of the denial of what voters voted for in the last election, I think is going to affect them greatly in the next election, and they're going to lose 20 seats in the House, 5-6 seats in the Senate.
That would be awesome.
That would
be good.
Well, but would that change the Democrat Party? I think that it would. I think that that's the point at which they say, okay, woke stuff is gone completely.
Really?
We're done with this. Because what are they going to do? Bleed more seats? And then they have no power?
I'm very doubtful that they'll bleed that many seats. I feel like look what happens in these one-party states like California and New York. They keep voting for these same policies, the policies that the people hate. And I mean, the people in California
but
are
California
getting screwed.
did turn redder
They did
in the last election. Sure.
All right. So maybe
like
there
almost every state in the union and almost every county. I've seen these maps of like every county is less blue than it was in the previous election. So county by county, even I think it's swinging that way. And it's my hope that it continues to swing that way because we've got to get those policies out of our politics.
Definitely. I mean, it's just destroying the country, and I'm just very worried that we're ever going to get all these people out of here. But, I mean, we'll see. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens.
All right. Very long time on one topic, and now we're going to move on.
You're listening to Barrett and Baxa, Media Schmedia. Real stories, raw takes, and the slow, strange death of traditional media.
Hey, I'm Rico Monaco. The music you hear on the Barrett and Baxa show, intros and breaks, that's me. I'm a guitarist, songwriter, producer, band leader, and music instructor. I performed across the U.S. and Europe, Paris, Italy, New York City, San Francisco, Miami, Dallas, Cabo, won awards and shared stages with legends like Sammy Hagar and Michael Anthony of Van Halen and Tito Puente Jr. My music fuses rock and Latin in a powerful, original way. You can hear it on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and more. If you enjoy it, like, follow, comment, and share. It truly helps. Let me know what songs or videos hit you most. And you can contact us through our website, www.ricomonaco.com, for shows, festivals, events. Much love to Steve and Bob, and to all of you from Orlando, Florida.
All right, well, now we're going to do something that we don't often do. Usually we have a lot of praise for our, I don't want to call them our friends, but the people over on Fox News.
On the Five,
and The Five is a good I think it's a great show. I think it's a well-produced show.
Love it.
But
it's the number
we
one
do have
rated,
some things to make fun of.
It's number one in all of cable news, I think. Is The
Is
Five.
it really?
It's the top-rated show in all of cable news, which is on at 5 p.m., which it seems like most people would not be able to be
5
watching
p.m.
TV.
where you are. It's 4
That's
p.m.
true.
for me.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised that they are, but they are the number one rated show on cable news. They have 3 million viewers a night or something. So,
well, I'm going to go. So this is, if you haven't watched it, it's basically 5 people sitting around a table. It's kind of like The View, only there's only five. There's only 5 people.
Right.
Sometimes The View has 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
So they have kind of the same people all the time. So they got Jesse Waters. They've got Jessica Tarloff often, and she'll switch it out.
She's
with
the Democrat.
Harold Ford Jr.
Right.
Yeah, so they always have a Democrat,
Democrat
in one of the seats to make those points for Democrats. You have issue with Tarloff.
Jessica Tarloff drives me crazy. I mean, Harold Ford. There's usually 4 conservatives: Greg Gutfeld, Jesse Waters, Dana Perino. There's usually one other conservative, and
it used to be Janine Pirro.
Okay, right, Judge Janine, but she's not there anymore. I don't know who it is now. And then there's one Democrat. Harold Ford Jr. is a former congressman. He's super reasonable. He's impossible to hate. Like, I want to hate every Democrat, but I can't hate Harold Ford Jr. because he's so nice and he's so reasonable, and he will criticize Democrats. That's the thing about him. Jessica Tarloff drives me freaking crazy, but she does make the show better in a sense because she makes my blood boil, because she is one of these Democrats that just reads the Democrat talking point. Whatever has been sent out by the DNC that day is what she reads. And like the other day, it was that Trump's upside down now on immigration in the latest polls, which I think is bullshit.
And the 2 polls before that, 3 polls before that, he was up.
Right.
So you can't trust the polls.
How do we even trust polls? I mean,
I don't think we do.
In all seriousness, how do you poll people? You call their cell phone. All right. There's no other way. No one has a landline.
Maybe email. I don't know.
I guess, but who's reading an email from some polling company? Most of those go straight to your spam folder. So you're getting a call on your cell phone that says unknown number, or it says a number and it's not one of your contacts. And it's just like a number from an area code from some city that you don't know. Is anyone answering that call? Because I see that and I'm going, all right, this is clearly a bullshit call. I'll let it go to voicemail. If it is something that I want to know about, I'll see what the voicemail is. I'm not going to answer it. So
but they claim that they have methods to.
What are the methods? What?
Yeah, they have some methods that they
how?
can like figure out how many people didn't answer, and then they figure out what those people would have said
bullshit.
in the poll.
I
It
feel
is-
like by
it is bullshit.
definition, they're only polling those lonely weirdos who will answer an unknown phone number on their cell phone, and those people are all Democrats.
But I say a couple of things. At least Jessica Tarloff does come with some facts, and she comes with ammunition, and that's what frustrates the other members of the five. I also think that Jessica Tarloff is librarian hot.
She is cute.
She is cute, and I like how feisty she is. She doesn't really back down. Harold Ford Jr. I do love Harold Ford Jr. But we're done with the being around the table thing. Happy to be around the table. Good to be back around the table. Like he leaves for one day, and he's like, "Hey, happy to be back around the table." Well, you were gone for one day, Harold. And enough with that. We know you're happy to be around the table. Everybody knows, Harold, that you're happy to be around the table. The other person. Have you ever noticed Jesse Waters? If you watch Bill O'Reilly on his show, Jesse Waters just imitates Bill O'Reilly. He has the same mannerisms, all the same hand gestures. He leans in like this, and he does everything.
Well, he used to be on O'Reilly as the
he was
man
O'Reilly's
in the field.
guy. Yeah. He was Johnny to Bill O'Reilly.
He was the old Johnny. So maybe Johnny will get his own show at some point.
So speaking of people who you think might be gay, I wonder about Gutfeld.
That's a good question. He just
because
had a
here's
kid.
something that Gutfeld does. He likes to make, like, he has certain things that he loves to make fun of. Weight. He loves to make fun of weight, which makes me wonder, was he a fat kid when he was young?
He always shows pictures of Chris Christie, and now, of course, the new person to make fun of is J.B. Pritzker, who really is very, very. Can we elect a guy who's that fat? I wonder.
I don't know.
When's the last time
that doesn't bother me at all.
I wonder
but
when
it clearly bothers you, Bob.
Well, it doesn't bother me, but it does show a lack of self-control, doesn't it? If he's the president and he's 200 pounds overweight, is that a good thing? It's kind of an addiction.
It's at least maybe a heart attack waiting to happen. I don't know.
He is
very. But my point with Gutfeld is he has all these little things that bother him and that he makes fun of people for, and it makes me wonder if, like, in the back of his head. Like Larry Kudlow, he's always talking about, having a romantic dinner with Larry Kudlow and Britt Hume. So it just makes me wonder about him. Dana Perino, I can say nothing wrong about her, man.
She
is
sweet.
My secret crush, dude.
Yeah.
Dana, ever since she was press secretary for George W. Bush, man.
Right.
Dana is fantastic. But I will tell you one thing about this show. If you watch it, all the subsequent shows for the rest of the night are basically the same issues as the five. It's all. If you've watched the five, you have now watched Gutfeld, and you have now watched Jesse Waters, and you have now watched Sean Hannity. So you've
got
watched
the whole Fox
everything
Network,
else.
for the whole night. That's a good point. All right.
So that's our teasing of the five. You wanted to mention something about some MSNBC headlines that you saw.
Unbelievable. I was listening on Sirius on the satellite radio, and the two things that have happened lately with Congress people, you had the New Jersey Congresswoman who was actually arrested in New Jersey, and you had this guy, Alex Padilla, who was not arrested. He was, you could say he was manhandled a little bit, but not really. He was put on the ground, they put him in handcuffs, and then they took off the handcuffs. There were no charges. So MSNBC is talking about these two situations. And they said, the anchor says, a congresswoman in New Jersey who was arrested for simply trying to do her congressional oversight. Now think about that. Congressional oversight is done on Capitol Hill. It's done through staffers. You don't do congressional oversight by elbowing into law enforcement. She is not arrested for trying to do congressional oversight. She was arrested because she hit a cop. She elbowed a cop. She plowed into a cop. That's illegal. That's assault on a cop. So no, MSNBC, she was not arrested for doing congressional oversight. And then the next one was, and Senator Alex Padilla, was roughed up and put in handcuffs for simply trying to ask a question. And again, to hear MSNBC tell it, he went into the room and he sat there quietly and he said, "Oh, excuse me, hi, I'm Senator Alex Padilla. May I ask a question, please?" And then the security ran in. "How dare you don't get questions, mother effer! Get on the ground now! Put your hands behind your back."
Which is not what happened. That is not
No.
how it happened. I mean, you clearly see that he comes barging in.
Right.
And maybe this is our new this week's stupid Democrat trick, the SDT.
Yes.
Because barging in. Maxine Waters tried to do it too. She tried to go in some back door.
Yeah, you don't
got
get
the
to
door
barge
slammed in her face.
Just because you're a senator or a congressman, there's still rules of behavior. And clearly, Trump has had 2 assassination attempts. Kristi Noem, whether you like her or not, she is the Homeland Security Secretary. She gets federal law enforcement security. So any secure person, the security is going to take it seriously. We want them to take it seriously. If you look at the video
We need
of
them
Alex
to take
Padilla,
it serious.
yeah, because what
Look
happens
at what
if
just
he-
happened in Minnesota.
Right, 2 lawmakers shot and killed. I think they're both dead, or
And
one is dead.
No, one is dead and
Okay.
one is recovering. But the
Okay.
husband of the one who was killed is dead also, and then the wife of the other that was shot. And this guy, as as of the taping of this episode right now,
Still at
he
large.
has not been captured. But that just goes to show that for all of these politicians in this political environment, everybody should be on edge. So,
Right.
if Tim Walz is giving a statement and somebody tries to barge in on Tim Walz,
I expect the
take
cops to
that
grab
person
the guy.
down.
Absolutely.
Take
you
him
don't
down.
know what the guy's intent is. And Alex Padilla lied. He said that he identified himself right up front.
He did
which
not.
Is bullshit. He did not. He went storming up, yelling. All they see is this large man with, they don't know who he is. Let's face it, no one knows who Senator Alex Padilla, who, by the way, unelected. Okay, you guys love to say Elon Musk is unelected. Senator Alex Padilla is unelected. He never received a single vote. He was appointed senator to replace Kamala Harris when she became the vice president. So Alex Padilla is unelected.
Which
Just
means
as
that,
unelected as
which
Elon
means
Musk.
that he's going to be running, which means that
Right.
he needs to do some stupid Democrat tricks
Right,
to
and
get his
name
name out
recognition.
there.
Yes.
So this is what they do with
That's
the
what
stupid
he
Democrat
was doing.
tricks.
Yeah. So MSNBC,
All right.
once again, highly, highly misleading with their stupid headlines. If you only watch MSNBC, you really will have no clue what's happening in the world. I mean, that's
I think that is true. Yeah.
very, very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked last week about people who won't watch the news on
Right.
the opposing position.
Right.
And I think they're part of the problem.
No doubt.
So something happened this week that I was pretty surprised about because,
What?
when you talk about cancel culture and you talk about the things that you have to apologize for all the time,
Right.
you always had to apologize for not taking the side of the LGBTQ community or
Right.
the trans rights people. And for
Right.
the first time, Simone Biles came out and offered an apology
I
for
saw
what
that.
she said, the things she said about Riley Gaines.
Yeah.
And I think so. And I saw a clip today. Riley Gaines gave a speech, and she said, "Well, if Simone Biles is going to question my womanhood, I'll show her this." And then she revealed an ultrasound. So apparently
nice.
Riley Gaines is pregnant. So congratulations
Nice.
to
Good for
Riley
her.
Gaines. But this is the first time, Bob, that I've seen, and I think this is probably a major change, where
Yes.
someone has apologized for taking the side of the transgender
People are
community in
tired.
the issue of men and women's sports. I mean, I don't have a problem with transgender, but stop with the kids and stop with the men and
Absolutely.
women's sports.
First of all, transgender and gay are 2 different things. What I'm seeing is that the normal sort of just normal L and G and maybe B are all separating themselves from T. The T is a totally different thing. It is not the same to be transgender as it is to be gay. And normal gay people are not trying to convince children that the child should be gay. And so the things that Simone Biles said, just disgusting. I mean, how she could take the position that she took. She destroyed her legacy. And then the thing that really got me is that she body shamed Simone Biles body shamed Riley Gaines. Like, she made a comment about her body. I thought we're not allowed to talk about women's bodies.
She has a man's body.
Yeah, what the hell? I thought we're not allowed to body shame.
Which she does, and she definitely has a female swimmer's body.
Great.
And swimmers have a body that, like, their shoulders get wide and they look
muscular.
super fit. So
I think Simone Biles has if we're talking about muscular bodies, Simone Biles is muscular, but I thought we're not supposed to say anything negative about a woman's body. I thought that's called body shaming, and we're not allowed to do that. And yet Simone Biles
You don't have
it.
any problem with body shaming.
No, I do. Well, I'm trying to get away from that.
Try to get away from that.
Turned over a new leaf. So, but it is interesting. You're right. I think the culture is changing. And in the past, Simone Biles would have said what she said. She would have been hailed as a hero. All the blowback would have been on Riley Gaines. And now, I think it's turning. And people are just tired.
That's
of
why
all
I
the
said,
bullshit.
to me, this is the first time I've seen
no doubt
the shoe on the other foot.
100%.
So maybe the shoe is going to be on the other foot more often now. And I think it ought to be, because I think good debate is something that helps us sort out social problems and political issues and things like that.
You're right.
All right, we're going to move through quickly through some more media schmedia stuff.
Okay.
The next one is a clip that I want to play, and we're not really going to, I'm just going to play it for us because I don't think we're going to be able to see it or hear it. There's not much but music in the background, but it's this, I guess she's a traffic reporter, you say?
I think so.
You have expertise in the traffic reporter world.
That's true.
So this is a traffic reporter in Tampa, but it's something that I absolutely think is one of the big issues in local news, and that is people dancing around on social media. And I want everybody to see this. If you can watch, we'll describe it. So this is a little short clip of Fox 13's Jennifer Epstein, and she's standing in the studio doing a little twirl in a yellow dress, and she's pulling her hair aside and just literally saying to herself, "Everybody, look at how pretty I look today."
Yes, she is. And the funny thing about this clip is that clearly all that matters to this chick is her physical appearance. Like, if you say to her, yeah, but what about the traffic? She'll be like, traffic? Who gives a shit about the traffic?
Do you see my yellow dress?
Don't you see how hot I look in my yellow dress? Like, who cares about the traffic? So if you're a guy who's like trying to get to work and you want to find out about an accident, it's like, all right, great. You're a hot chick in a yellow dress. But is there any way you could tell me like what's going on with I-4 right now? Is that possible? But it's just another
I've got to
example.
Be done with her here.
It's the death of TV news. She wants to be a celebrity. She wants to be a hot chick on TV. She just happens to be the traffic reporter right now. But let's face it, everyone's getting their traffic information from their phone. I mean, I can look at my phone and see exactly where the backup is. So, I mean, there's no reason I need to turn to the hot chick in a yellow dress to hear her read some stuff that was handed to her from a producer who got it off his phone. Like, why don't we just cut out the middleman and go straight to our phone? And I think that's why local news is dead. I hate to break it to you folks that are still in it, but it died. Sorry.
It's gone. It's over.
No doubt.
All right. So
she's a perfect example of that.
One of the next thing that I'm going to show is it's not so much a media schmedia thing, but it is just hilarious. And if you happen to be on YouTube, you're going to want to take a look at this. I'm going to share it with you right now. This is, I guess, a Kamala Harris. I don't know. It would be maybe a charity that she's
like a
getting
logo
involved
for
with
a
or something
charity.
like that.
Yeah.
It's a logo for a charity, but if we describe it to you, it's going to be difficult to describe. It's is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 what look like men because they've got big biceps. Maybe
and you're looking down. It's 5 men
women.
in a circle, and you're looking down from above. So you're looking down on these. You see the tops of their heads from above, and you see their hands. And each guy has his left hand on the guy to his left on something. And then that guy,
it looks maybe like they're supposed to be handing a baton to each other.
I don't know. I mean, in all seriousness, it
not
looks
what
like
it looks
they're
like.
all circle jerking each other.
It looks like a circle jerk.
What were they going for?
That's what it looks
I really
like.
want to know what were they going for in this picture? Because it looks like
Harris
nothing
for the people. That's
it looks
what
like
says.
nothing other than a circle jerk. It's impossible to see it as anything else.
Excuse our French.
Right. So what were they actually going for? Like, what is it, a baton? But how does a baton even make sense?
Yeah, like why do they all have a baton?
Why would there be 5 guys handing batons?
Why do you have a
each other?
baton that looks like a penis right in the exact place where your penis would be?
Right. And you're all holding the guy next to you's baton. Like, it doesn't make any sense. How did that get past, like, the committee that came up with it and actually become an ad?
Horrifying.
It's another example of Kamala Harris and her just incompetence that someone in her team, I guess, put that out. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that image, go look for that image. I think if you just Google Kamala Harris circle jerk image, it'll come right up.
I think it does. Yeah,
pretty much.
I bet
at
it
this
does.
Point.
All right. So, Terry Moron got fired.
I saw that.
First
yes.
he got suspended,
Nice.
then he got fired. This is the ABC reporter that got so much grief for the interview with Donald Trump.
Right.
Then he proceeded to say that Donald Trump, Stephen Miller is evil and eats hate.
What does that even mean?
Yeah.
How do you eat your hate?
And clearly, wasn't it at like 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning?
It was late. But what is it a known phrase to eat your hate? Does that mean that you are that you hate a lot of things? Like, I'm not familiar with this phrase. I thought it was a weird turn of phrase. He eats his hate. Does that mean that he hates so much that he's lives off of it? I don't know.
He lives on hate. I don't know.
If you're going to say something, you should make it clear what you're saying. But yeah, it's interesting that ABC fired him. I think they're trying to get some. The problem is
some credibility,
and it's not possible. That ABC, your entire house is on fire, and you're like blowing out a match in one of the bedrooms. It's just the rest of the house is still on fire. The house is burning down, and
really all of them. I mean, MSNBC's in the same boat.
Right.
CBS, same
firing
boat.
Terry Moron
ABC.
is not going to save your thing.
I mean, NBC, the parent company, Comcast, is trying to offload MSNBC to protect NBC.
Right.
Which would require for them to, the MS was Microsoft, right?
Right. Which I guess that went
from
bye-bye at some point.
Right. And so NBC is still NBC. So when they sell it, it will be interesting to see whether they require them to change the name of the network.
Right.
Sort of like Headline News became HLN after CNN spun off.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Yep.
All right. All right. You okay? So Bob, we can go one in two directions, and it's going to be your choice here. So we could go back to the ICE protests because we have a protester. We have that great clip of those 2 protesters blocking the street as a black woman is trying to get to work. You want to discuss that one?
Yeah, let's talk about that one, and then I'll tell about my Tinder profile. It's 2 Democrats behaving insanely. 2 different things where Democrats are crazy.
Here we go. I'm going to shave this.
Clip
There's
is
2 of them.
very
There's
good.
2 of them because then the next one involves the N-word.
Okay.
How is this a peaceful protest if there's nothing to do? No, it's not.
How do you as white people feel about stopping a black woman from going to work?
Oh, no, not work. I care so much.
So you don't care about stopping black people from going to work?
Look at this line that you guys are causing. I'm not causing no problems. I'm not trying to. We're just trying to leave.
Well, what's happening here is that these liberal protesters are blocking the road. And there's this, just an average black woman, a working class black woman. She happens to be black. It doesn't really matter that she's black, but it kind of matters because the Democrats are constantly talking about how much they love black people. But here's a black woman who all she wants, whatever you're protesting, this woman just wants to go to work. Like, I have to go to work.
They're blocking the street.
I have to get to work. You're blocking the street. It's like, maybe I'm on your side, maybe I'm against you. It doesn't matter. Like, I just want to go to work. I have to go to work because I have to pay rent. I have children. And she even says, I have a kid. Like, I have to go to work. And at one point, one of the guys is like, ooh, work.
Oh,
and
work.
you have to go to work. And it's like, it so perfectly encapsulates everything that the new Democrat Party stands for. They're not the party of working class. This woman is working class. She's trying to go to work. Working class means you go to work. And this woman is, whatever your job is, you go to work every day. You know, you're not living off your investments. You're going to work every day. That's how you are working class. And they're like mocking the very concept of someone who would care about their job. And it's really telling, because to me, it sums up everything you need to know about the modern Democrat Party. They're not the party of the working class. They're the party of freeloading. These kids are probably like rich kids whose parents are wealthy, and they're mocking an actual working class woman because she's worried that she has to go to work. That's what's happening.
The clips coming out of these protests are making it pretty obvious that there is an element within this group of protesters that is that doesn't care about Americans, and also is pretty damn racist.
No doubt.
The next clip that I'm going to play, I'm going to have to bleep it because I'm not putting the N word on.
A lot of N words in this. Yes,
but this is like clearly illegal Central American immigrants.
Okay.
Clearly think that it's okay to be racists themselves while claiming that the right is racist.
Is racist against them.
So the clip, if you're not looking at it, this clip is going to be a couple of the protesters talking to a black African American, a black cop who's standing there straight faced. He doesn't respond to them at all. Here it comes.
I'm fake. I know you do, dog. I'll spit in your plate. I'll put my on your plate. F your family. F your kids. That's how it is. I can't sleep comfortably because of you.
He be getting a whole plate. He be expecting us to give us a whole that right there.
Do you go to Kava?
Yeah, you do. Stop plate.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Unbelievable. So these are Mexican illegals who are blatantly racist against a black American cop.
And it's getting like if that was a white person doing
my
that.
God.
First of all, like you make the point, there is no incident of someone screaming at someone in the streets using the N-word, a white person yelling at a black person using
and we know there's not, because it would be leading every newscast if it was real, and it's not.
But in, Mexicans, Hispanic, you can use that, and you can use that against a police officer. And the police officer's doing nothing. He's just standing there, shaking his head.
Imagine if he hit them or something, how much trouble he would be in. He'd be arrested.
What happens if he takes his baton out?
Oh, my God, forget it. He'd be arrested.
Because at a bar, that's what would happen. If this was a night out at some nightclub, that little skinny Mexican kid would have gotten his ass kicked.
Absolutely.
Like by multiple people.
Right.
And
that was crazy.
Probably rightfully so. You know what I mean?
No doubt. Unbelievably racist. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
All right. Well, Bob, that is, I think, we forgot one thing. We're going to do pet peeves, but I want to know about your Tinder profile.
All right, so as everybody knows, I met my best girl on Tinder, or maybe you don't know that, but I did. And I have obviously not been on Tinder in many years because I've been with my best girl now for 5 years. But back then, when I was on Tinder, if you're familiar with all these these dating apps, a profile comes up. If you see what the person looks like, you like it, you swipe right. If you don't, you swipe left. And once you swipe left, that person is out of your life forever. You will never, ever see that person again. The app is not going to send them to you again. That's it. They're out. So if you see someone who's maybe they're wearing a Trump shirt, you could swipe left and you'll never see them again. You know that you hate Trump, so you swipe left. Now, on my profile, I had my picture, but it also said, the headline said, absolutely no Democrats. So,
no matter how good looking they are.
No, absolutely no Democrats allowed. Now, if I'm a woman and I'm a heterosexual woman, I'm looking through men's profiles. Up comes this guy. I see it says absolutely no Democrats. I say, oh, I'm a Democrat. Swipe left. Let's get rid of him. I certainly wouldn't take the time to write to this guy, but unfortunately, or fortunately for this segment, that's exactly what one woman did. This woman took the time. Now, I'm a complete stranger. We're never going to meet. She's never going to see me. She wrote me this long diatribe about how I'm I'm eliminating the women who have integrity and the women who have morals, and you'll never meet the right kind of woman. And I just wrote back one sentence. I felt like it was the greatest response ever. And I just said, and here we have the reason for the no Democrats policy. And that was it. And that was the reason for the
Did
no
she
Democrats
respond to that?
that was it. I never got another response back. But
oh, she swiped left. Well, which one is it? Swipe right is good,
left is
left
bad,
is bad?
right is good. Right is good. Yeah. So
right is good, left is bad. Okay.
Correct.
So she swiped left on you and you're never going to see her again.
And then
maybe she'll listen to the Barrett and Baxa podcast.
Maybe. And shortly after that, I swiped right on the most gorgeous and perfect woman who has ever existed, and who is probably throwing up as she watches this. And then that was my best girl. We're together to this day. Yes, it's wonderful. So.
Well, before we move into pet
peeves
peeves here, I just want to invite everybody to like, share, find us wherever you can find us. If you're watching on YouTube, a lot of people have been asking. They're like, well, wait a second. How can I, if I'm not on YouTube in my car, you can listen to YouTube in the car. You just play the YouTube video. But you can also find us on Spotify. You can find us on Rumble. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. So there are plenty of places to find us where you can hear just the audio version. You don't even have to look at our ugly mugs.
I didn't realize, though, on Spotify, the video plays, which I never knew.
Spotify is adding video.
It is.
So they want people to start. But I don't think they can compete with YouTube. But
probably not. But if you watch this on Spotify, you will see the video. But I mean, it's not like you have to watch. You can just listen, and it'll be fine.
And we definitely invite people to interact with us because we love that.
Absolutely.
So, all right, let's move into the pet peeve segment.
You go first.
I have to tell you, this is only coming from tired Steve, who's been worn out by a 3-year-old for the last 2 days. So I didn't even have time to think about what might be a pet peeve. But then one occurred to me suddenly as I was trying to find snacks for him. And that is great brands that like throw you this curveball and think suddenly they're going to offer you a new variety of their product that you are going to like. A couple of examples are, for example, my wife bought Oreos.
Right.
And instead of just being Oreos, they were
you don't need to mess with Oreos.
They were like toffee flavored Oreos. And they're so bad. I'm like, just give me a regular Oreo.
Right.
And another example is M&M's. You know, they've got the peanut M&Ms and they've got the regular M&Ms. Well, M&M's now is trying to do the and maybe they've been doing it for a while, but the like peanut butter M&Ms.
Oh, they have all kinds of stuff.
They have hazelnut.
They have hazelnut M&Ms. Yes, they're horrible.
It's got to be just stick to the M&M.
Just
because
M&M plain and
look,
peanut.
Reese's Pieces already did it with the peanut butter. You know, so like, don't ruin your brand.
I know.
And try to do all these offshoot brands.
M&M's does have a mint one, though, that is pretty good, I will say. So I have to throw in the M&M mint. All right. That's a good pet peeve. And I do
stay in your lane with your good
That
product.
is a good one. All right. My pet peeve is security, the sort of security theater that websites force you to go through. And it reminds me of, we all go through security theater at the airport. Everyone knows that, you know, getting grandma to take off her shoes is not preventing the plane from getting bombed. There's not going to be another shoe bomber. If someone's going to hijack a plane, they're going to go in probably through the food service or something. Meanwhile, you got grandma taking off her shoes upstairs. It's theater. It makes it look like there's security. And websites do the same thing. I had physically lost my driver's license. I had to go to the DMV website, and my God, first of all, the thing where you're choosing a password, but it doesn't show you, it does the little like asterisks for each thing you're choosing.
Right.
So then now you have to match it the second time. But of course, you've already forgotten what you put in. So you're trying to remember what you put in, and then the passwords don't match. Then you got to go start back again. Then the thing asks me like 15 different questions, like what was your first grade teacher's middle name? I mean, like every stupid question. And my point
and now
on
what
this,
they're doing is these stupid pass keys. Use a pass key. Well, where's a pass key? Where am I going to get this pass key that you're talking to me about?
Yeah, you're making my life harder. If a real hacker's trying to get into my shit, he's going to get in. This little stupid security question is not keeping out hackers. So all you're doing with your security is pissing me off, your customer, and making my life more difficult. And another thing, If my password is weak, that's my business. Let me choose a weak password. That's another thing. If you choose a password that's too weak, they won't accept it. Like, I think I should have the right to choose a weak password.
A weak password if you want.
That's my business.
If I want to make your password to be your dog's
like
name.
on The Office, everyone's password was password 123 on The Office. And if I want to choose password 123, God damn it, I should be allowed to. So that's my pet peeve. Security
Passwords
theater.
are the pet peeves.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up
That's it.
right now. We've gone over an hour, Bob, and we do that regularly now. So I think people like it.
I think they do too.
And if you do like us and you want to interact, just hit us up. There are many ways to do it, including barrettandbaxa@gmail.com. But I don't think I can get in the Gmail account because I need a passkey.
Right. So that's out of the question. So someday
All right.
we'll get in there.
All right. I'm going to take a nap because the 3-year-old wore me out all weekend.
No, I'm going to eat dinner. See you later, Steve Barrett.
Goodbye.
Well, that's it for this episode of Barrett and Baxa Media Schmedia. Like, subscribe, and do all that other stuff podcasts want you to do. Become one of the chosen few, the in crowd. You know, the cool kids. The ones who are passed out on Barrett's pool deck long after the party ended.
You don't say I love you like you used to be.